really happy to be here. Shannon and I have just had a fantastic voyage, and we've loved being a part of the staff and serving all of you guys in the library and in the computer lab. And for me, it just feels like a real honor to get to stand up here and just say a couple of words on behalf of all the fabulous staff that we've been with all semester. We spent 4 months traveling around the world. Sometimes I can't believe it. And in a lot of ways, it seems like just yesterday that we were walking around Halifax, excitedly anticipating this adventure that was about to come. But in other ways, it seems like there's so much life lived between then and now that I feel like we've been on the ship for years. And for me, it's tough to process the full extent of this voyage. I think it's going to take a long time to really figure out what all that we've seen and done means to all of our lives. We've recently had some shopping malls in Japan and beach towns in Hawaii, a bunch of sessions yesterday, and a campfire sing-along, all of which are combining to help us transition back into, for most of us, what is a North American lifestyle and culture. And I think it's easy to let all the shocking and the beautiful and the exotic, hilarious and deeply moving set of experiences that make up a semester at sea fade into the background. I'm not saying I think you guys are going to forget what we've seen and done, because I think a lot of these experiences are unforgettable. But I just want to give you a few little reminders to spark your memories and bring the full extent of this voyage back into your minds. So don't forget. Don't forget that in Halifax, there are 18-wheelers that will come to a screeching halt just because they see one person standing on the side of the road who looks like maybe, sort of, they might want to cross. They don't do that in Indianapolis. Don't forget the big guy at the sidewalk bar in Spain. The big guy's English is very poor, but his Spanish, and especially his Spanish singing, is superb. The big guy will buy you rounds of Tio Pepe and serenade you for hours on end, even if you're not a single lady, just because he thinks it's fun to give you an entertaining evening. Don't forget that while you were in Morocco, there were a couple things happening simultaneously. There was some nut job in Florida trying to make a public spectacle of burning copies of the Quran. And meanwhile, devout Moroccan Muslims were inviting you and me, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, into their homes, serving us homemade tea and donuts, playing music, and teaching us some sweet new Moroccan dance moves. If you missed out on a chance to learn Moroccan dances, ask Dr. Chris to show you some of the moves that he picked up. One of them kind of goes like this. Don't forget the guy in Ghana with the cool t-shirt. You told him that you thought it was a cool t-shirt, and he pulled it off his back and handed it to you in a selfless gesture of friendliness, brotherhood, and goodwill. Also, don't forget that this guy lives in a ramshackle hut and probably makes less than $2 a day. Don't forget the ecstatic whooping, jumping, and sprinting up and down the pier of the Ghanaian drum salesman. Especially when Coop started a chant of "Me da si, me da si, me da si." Don't forget the week of candid and moving discussions that we had leading up to South Africa with none other than the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Don't forget the visual splendor of that tablecloth of clouds pouring in over Table Mountain every afternoon when you looked up at it from Cape Town. And don't forget the massive poverty of the South African townships, but also remember the hope and the spirit and the dedication of all the people working to lessen it there. Don't forget the serenity and the beauty of a sunset on the Indian Ocean. Don't forget the adrenaline rush of auto rickshaw traffic in India, or the craziness of the auto rickshaw drivers. Don't forget that they were even crazier because they let some of you behind the wheel. Don't forget the eyes of the little kid wearing nothing but shorts. And I'm talking about shorts that were so tattered that they were more like a loincloth than shorts. And he's belly crawling on the dirty floor under your train car seat, picking up trash, just to show you that he's providing a valuable service and is worthy of a few of your rupees. Don't forget the cleanliness and the order and tranquility you found in Singapore, the breathtaking orchids that you saw in the botanical gardens there. Don't forget the sweet, addictive, okay, maybe very addictive flavor of cafe soda, which is also known as Vietnamese crack coffee. Definitely don't forget the sweet and savvy double talk of the ladies working in the Vietnamese and Cambodian markets. Oh, same, but different. Or my personal favorite, buy one, get one free, pay two. Don't forget the economic might that was manifested in the skylines of Shanghai and Beijing and Hong Kong. And don't forget your panda hat. Don't forget how strange and alien it felt to navigate through the streets of Japan. And don't forget the politeness of the Japanese culture with all the bowing and the conspicuous lack of obnoxious cell phone rings in public. Last but certainly not least, don't forget that when the Hawaiian people, like our brother Kaipo, say hello, they are not just saying hello. They are offering you a shared communion in the breath of life. Aloha. Now before I let go of this mic, I want to say thank you. I want to say thanks to all the crew and the lifelong learners and the faculty and staff. This has been an absolutely awesome voyage. But most of all, I want to thank you students, because you guys are freaking awesome. Seriously. I had a couple of down moments here and there over the course of this journey. But every time I did, one of you guys would come along and you'd do something inspiring or fresh or hilarious or profound or just no other word to describe it, awesome, to pump me right back up. Let me give you a couple examples. You found a t-shirt company in Ghana and made Make Fufu Not War t-shirts for you and your friends. On the first day of board, you slapped at least 500 high fives and gave 300 or 400 whoops of enthusiasm while breakdancing in your wheelchair in the hallway right in front of the computer lab. All right, awesome. On our African safari, you pointed out to me that, and this is a quote, as much as it would suck to miss part of this trip in the hospital because of a lion bite, having a scar because you got bit by a lion would be pretty badass. You organized a bus and created your own field practicum to a microfinancing organization. And not only that, but you lined up multiple job interviews in Hong Kong and somewhere else in China, I think Shanghai. Okay, seriously, I think my shipboard daughter Alyssa is probably going to be my boss in about 2 years. Don't laugh, Dean, she'll be yours in 5. You made up a flash mob dance for our India pre-port, and you taught it to 50 people in complete secrecy on a place where I thought there was no such thing as complete secrecy. And finally, one day after a global study session on overpopulation, you made up a spreadsheet formula that calculates the maximum population growth rates and found out that the entire population of China could be repopulated from the offspring of one couple and something like 7 or 8 generations if you ignore incestuous birth defects. That's pretty impressive. You guys are the future of our world, and from where I'm standing, the future is looking pretty bright. So when you leave this ship, remember what you've seen, remember what you've done, remember the people who showed you kindness and compassion all over the world. Keep rocking the world, and friend Shannon and me on Facebook so that we can learn about how awesome all your lives turn out. Thanks a lot.